Hello everyone. Let's read verse number 11 of chapter 24 and we'll continue downward with several verses after this, okay? So I'm not going to read the Arabic. I'm just going to read the translation. It says, "Indeed, those who came up with falsehood, bil-ifk, with lie, are a group among you. Do not think it is bad for you. Rather, it is good for you. For every person amongst them is what he has earned from the sin, and he who took upon himself the greater portion of it, for him there is a great punishment." Why, when you heard it, did not the believing men and believing women think good of themselves and say, "This is an obvious falsehood. This is an obvious lie. Haza ifkun mubin. This is an obvious lie. This is an obvious accusation. This is a lie. This is a falsehood. This is an allegation." And then the Quran goes on and tells us, "And if it had not been for the favor of Allah, for the grace of Allah, for the grace of Yahweh upon you, and his mercy in this world and in the hereafter, a great punishment would have touched you for that lie, for that falsehood, for that accusation. When you received it with your tongues and said with your mouths that of which you had no knowledge, and thought it was insignificant, while it was in the sight of Allah tremendous and extremely significant." And why, when you heard it, when you heard this accusation, when you heard this lie, did you not say, "It is not for us to speak of this. Exalted are you. Glory to you. This is a great slander. This is a great lie. Indeed, those who like that immorality, fahsha, should be spread or publicized amongst those who have believed will have a painful punishment in this world and the hereafter. And Allah knows and you do not know. And if it had not been for the favor and the grace of Allah upon you and his mercy, and because Allah is all kind, all merciful. O you who have believed, do not follow the footsteps of Satan, and whoever follows the footsteps of Satan, indeed, he enjoins, he commands to immorality and wrongdoing and fahsha. And if not for the favor of Allah upon you and his mercy, not one of you would have been pure ever. But Allah purifies whom he wills, and Allah is all hearing, all knowing. My brothers and sisters, I could go through the Hadith and prove from there what they are telling about our Prophet, about marrying his wife while he was 6 or 9 years old, is an absolute falsehood, is an absolute fabrication, is a total lie. However, I don't want to even go there because the Quran has a commandment in it, and it says that we have to say, "Ma yakunu lana an natakallama bihadha subhanaka hadha buhtanun azim." It is not for us to speak about this. Glory be to you, our Lord. This is a great slander. This is a great fabrication. This is a great lie to accuse the last prophet of Allah of pedophilia. And unfortunately, Islamic sects such as Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims, especially Sunni Muslims, are spreading this lie. And let me tell you what actually happened. Again, I was not there, I don't know. But I can tell you that there were some religious scholars, some religious leaders during the time of the Umayyad or maybe Abbasid, I have no idea. But before those Hadith, Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari were codified. So probably, most certainly during the time of the Umayyad, that they were pedophiles and they wanted to snatch people's baby daughters from them. The only way they could have justified that was with coming with this fabrication, coming up with this lie, and accusing the last prophet of pedophilia, and then spreading that amongst the community to justify their pedophilia and to be able to approach people and do their shameless deed to their daughters, this grave sin. And unfortunately, this became a custom and tradition in Islamic countries. And even as of today, this is happening in many, many Islamic countries. In Afghanistan, in Saudi Arabia, in many countries, this is happening. I have said it before, and I keep saying this. Hadith is insinuation, revelation from Iblis himself and his deputies. This is the chief demons. I have talked about them before. The books of Hadith, majority of it, are revelation, insinuation of Satan, and unfortunately of Akbar, of the great devil. And unfortunately, majority of Muslims are following the devil and they are worshipping Akbar unknowingly. They're worshipping Iblis unknowingly. So next time when someone says it in an interview, in a video, in wherever you are, all you need to say is this: ما يكون لنا أن نتكلم بهذا سبحانك هذا بهتان عظيم. It is not for us to speak of this. Exalted are you. This is a great slander. And keep in mind what the Quran tells you in this verse, that why, when you heard it, did not the believing men and believing women think good of themselves and say this is an obvious falsehood, this is an obvious lie. The Islamic society after the Prophet, they codified that fabrication, they codified that lie, and they believed in it, and they made it into a practice. Imagine the number of girls that have been raped, have been subjected to pedophilia for the past 1400 years because of this hadith, because of these books, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. These are the books of the devil. Iblis could have come down and written them for you. It's the same. Imagine the 6-year-olds, the 9-year-olds, the 7-year-olds, the 10-year-old girls that were raped by older men, by religious scholars, by lustful pigs because of this hadith, because of this lie, because of this fabrication. Imagine the 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-olds right now in Afghanistan that have to go through this. They are raped. They are sold, they are given to 50-year-old men to be taken advantage of, to be sexually abused because of this hadith in Sahih Bukhari, in Sahih Muslim. Shame on you, shame on those religious scholars, the Sunni scholars that go on YouTube. You can see their videos and they talk about this hadith. You're a worshipper of Satan, you're his followers with those long beards and nasty looks. Shame on you. Why don't you think good of themselves and of your prophet? Why don't you say, when you see a saying, a hadith like that this is an obvious falsehood? Why don't you do that? You religious scholars, why don't you say, when you hear that hadith, when you see that in these books, why don't you say, it is not for us to speak of this? Subhanak, glory be to you. This is a great slander. This is a tremendous fabrication. Why don't you say that? Do you understand anything of the word of Allah? Peace and blessings to all the true believers.